During the Holocaust, they convinced people to put their families on trains, for their own good/safety, so they could be taken to a safe place. We all know the result of that. Have you ever heard of history repeating itself? I watched in horror as the police in China hauled a woman by both arms and both legs, shoved her in a van, and took her to a camp for COVID victims. We'll never know what happened to those people. And with what's taking place right here in our own country, don't think for 1 second that it couldn't happen here. We the people have proven just how quickly the government can take over all aspects of our lives. We complied based on fear tactics, some of which are very untrue, and magnified/sensationalized to get you on that train. Please read. It's for the good of our country. Mark Levin is a very smart lawyer who worked in government during the Reagan administration. He knows his law. Mark Levin, to be clear. President Trump hasn't shut a single business. The governors did. We are seeing the most draconian measures enforced at some state and local levels of government that we've ever seen in our lifetimes, and yet, rather than being alarmed by the things going on, so many of you applaud. President Trump's guidelines are voluntary and temporary, but some Democrat states and cities are taking it one step further, extending the lockdown and criminalizing behavior. Bill Gates wants to keep America locked down for 10 months. That's what living under a communist regime looks like, and you applaud. People are being arrested in some states for spending too much time outside, and you applaud. Pastors are being arrested in some states for daring to hold church services, and you applaud. A child's birthday party is raided by police, and you applaud. A young woman is ticketed for going on a leisurely drive alone because it's deemed non-essential travel, and you applaud. A father is handcuffed and arrested in an empty park for playing softball with his 6-year-old daughter and refusing to turn over his ID, and you applaud. A lone paddleboarder in the ocean on a beach without any other people around is arrested because he's violating quarantine orders, and you applaud. Businesses are being forcibly closed and padlocked and owners arrested for refusing to shut down, and you applaud. Dairy farmers are being incentivized to stop dairy farming and to sell their herds, and you don't seem to understand the implications. You're being told to use hotlines and online forms provided by your local governments to report your neighbors who don't obey, and you comply. You scold people day after day for not obeying government edicts, and if any of us dare to question what's happening, you lecture about how we're a danger to society and we just don't care about people dying. You've somehow managed to convince yourselves that the people whose lives are affected by a virus are much more important than the people whose lives are being destroyed, and in many cases, leading to death, by the effects of a worldwide economic shutdown and impending worldwide depression the likes of which no one has ever seen before. At what point will you start questioning what's going on? At what point will you ask how the virus got here from China? At what point will you question why the fake news keeps defending the communists? How far do you have to be pushed before you're jolted awake from your slumber? How far are you willing to go with this? If they told you to load your families onto train cars so that you could be taken to virus protection facilities for your own safety, would you do it? Yes. Yes, you would. That much has become painfully obvious to me. And the whole time, you'd be shaking your finger and yelling at those of us who refused, accusing us of being a danger to society and not caring if people die. But they don't have to load you onto train cars and take you to virus protection facilities, or force you to comply, because you do that voluntarily. The fake news controls your mind. They control you through fear. They control you by convincing you that the world is a scary, dangerous place, but they're here to protect you, care for you, and keep you safe, just as long as you obey. They know that as long as you're locked inside your comfortable home with Netflix, Hulu, CNN, NBC, ABC, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a cell phone, you'll comply. No force is necessary for the majority of the herd. Bill Gates even wants to mandate antibody tests. Only those who are immune from viruses will be allowed to leave their homes and work. You are imprisoned, willingly, and you're too blind to see it. I will not be blinded. I will not be controlled by the government. Amendment 1. Freedom of religion, speech, and the press. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Copied and shared, feel free to do the same.